Welcome to the Tech Talk Show with me, Kazeem, this afternoon. And today on the Tech Talk, we're going to be discussing the topic, what you need to know about Windows 365. That's the Cloud PC. And I have Azim with me today. Hi, Azim.
Hey, Kazeem. Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
All right, Azim. So let's start things off with an introduction. So please, would you tell us a little bit about you and what you do, Azim?
Sure, yeah. So nice to meet everyone. My name is Azim Manjee. I am a technical specialist at Microsoft, and I focus on helping customers get Windows 365 set up at their organizations, mostly based in the United States.
Okay. Thank you for that quick introduction. As in many people, I believe, have heard about the Office 365 or Microsoft 365, but I'm not sure a lot of people know about Windows 365 already. So sometimes, people like to ask this question: is it an upgrade of Windows 7 or is it an upgrade of Microsoft 365? So can we start with this? Can you tell us what Windows 365 is?
Sure, yeah. So Windows 365 is an extension to the Microsoft 365 offering, where it is essentially Windows as a service. So you pay, per month, and you get a virtual machine in the Azure cloud that is your desktop dedicated to you as a user, and it becomes your sort of workstation in the cloud. And so it's also known as Cloud PC, but Windows 365 is just a monthly piece that you pay for.
I want to ask for better clarity on this now, just so that we're clear.
Sure.
Does this have anything to do with Microsoft 365? Or is it, does it mean that if I have a valid subscription of Microsoft 365 that I automatically get Windows 365? Is there any connection between the two?
There is a connection. Typically, you need Microsoft 365 in order to buy Windows 365, but you don't get it automatically. So it is an additional service that you can add on top of Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365 includes the license for Windows operating system that you can run on any PC, and Windows 365 is the actual PC part of it. If you don't have if you wanted to connect from an iPad or an Android tablet or something like that and still run Windows, you can buy Windows 365 and run this cloud-based PC on any device.
Okay. So I know there is also the Azure Virtual Desktop, and we also have the Azure VM, right? The VM that we can run on Azure. How is Windows 365 different from these two?
Yeah, that's a great question. So they're very similar. The main difference is the management and pricing. So with Azure Virtual Desktop, you're paying for Azure. And so it's all based on how much you consume in Azure. Windows 365 is a fixed cost monthly price, so you don't have to worry about scaling. It's basically designed to be the easier version of Azure Virtual Desktop. So you don't have to be concerned with scaling or users or things like that. It's really mostly like a turnkey solution. I would almost describe it like analogous to leasing a Tesla, where they just give you the key and you get in and you drive. Whereas Azure Virtual Desktop is kind of like building your own electric car.
Okay. So just to push just a little bit further now, why would I need a cloud PC if I already have a desktop or a PC? So what makes Windows 365 different from traditional PC or laptop that we're used to?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of my customers are wanting to do a BYOD for their work employees. And so what they're doing is they're saying, we're going to give you a cloud PC. You bring whatever computer and we're just going to stream. And so what it allows them to do is create the secured, controlled environment for their users to connect to without having to worry about protecting all these machines out in the wild. And so From a consumer perspective, there probably isn't that much of an interest unless they were wanting a cloud gaming PC and they don't want to build their own gaming PC. But what's the fun in that? But in a commercial situation for businesses, it's becoming this new thing where they can allow users to work in a secure way without having to secure all the way to the device that the user holds in their hand.
I'm going to ask you next that is there a chance we could watch you show us something, how this works? Perhaps we can connect the dots better. How licensing works, perhaps how to add memory, maybe CPU. So just a little bit of demo. Can you show us something we can see?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I'm going to start sharing screen in 1 second. So let me know when you can see the screen.
Yeah, the screen is visible.
So the way this works is my user has, and if this, let me zoom in a little bit, has a Cloud PC license attached to him. And under my Microsoft 365 licenses and apps, I have this Windows 365 Enterprise 2 vCPU 4 gig 128 license. From there, and this is the Microsoft Admin Center, right, portal. So from there, in the Microsoft Endpoint Manager portal, I can actually navigate into Devices, Windows 365, and then from here, I've got a number of settings. And so I've got a Cloud PC already provisioned. That is because I'm licensed and I have a provisioning policy that is assigned to my profile, right? It automatically provisioned my PC. And so the way this works is you create, for the enterprise version, you create an on-premises network connection. So the requirement is that you've got an Azure Virtual Network with some kind of connectivity back to your domain, whether you're running your domain in Azure or you've got your domain extended to Azure or you're just using VPN. Once that's complete, we check to make sure we can perform a domain join, and we're doing Azure AD Connect, and we can essentially perform a hybrid connection or a hybrid Azure AD join with these devices. As soon as that provisioning policy is in place, which is essentially just choosing which Windows image you're using, and of course you can bring your own image, but I really am lazy, so I prefer to use the one off the shelf. You tell it which on-premises network connection, which in my case I'm using Azure Virtual Lan. So let me actually rewind real quick and just show that network connection. So the network connection itself has you picking an Azure subscription with choosing which resource groups your network interface cards will land in, and then which subnet and network that it'll actually use to connect to your domain. Once you set that up, it will actually test these domain join credentials that they prompt you for to make sure that there's domain connectivity. As soon as you assign a user a provisioning policy that has all of this sort of put together, it will provision them a Cloud PC, and that Cloud PC will hybrid enroll into your AD as well as Azure AD and enroll into Intune by virtue of the hybrid enrollment. From there, I can re-provision my machine, I can resize it. The machine is fully managed by Intune and Microsoft Endpoint Manager. In my case, I also have Microsoft Defender set up, so Microsoft Defender Endpoint also lands on that machine, and that machine is essentially ready for my user to connect to. The user, on the user side, they'll go to windows365.microsoft.com, and as long as they've got a machine assigned to them and a license, they will see this machine that allows them to restart the machine, do some troubleshooting, or connect to it right away. And so they can actually connect to it in a web browser with any HTML5 web browser. So this allows people to connect from just about any kind of device. From there, they're going to sign into this machine. And as you can see, I've already been doing some stuff on this machine. And this machine is on my on-premise network. So I can actually, if I wanted to, SSH to different types of devices on my network. So in this case, I'm going to SSH to a Raspberry Pi, if the Raspberry Pi is up right now. It looks like it is. So this is just to demonstrate that a Cloud PC is connected to my on-prem network. And so this is just kind of showing, the Raspberry Pi that I've connected to. And so this is the Raspberry Pi 3, I think. Possibly 4. it's a Raspberry Pi connected to my 3D printer, but ultimately they can connect to it through that portal, or they can connect to it through the AVD portal. So once the user has that Cloud PC provision, they'll also see it as a potential workspace in their Azure Virtual Desktop RD web. And then, of course, in the FAT client of Azure Virtual Desktop, they'll see the Cloud PC there as well. And so same goes here. If they click connect, it'll just pull up that desktop. So from a management perspective, I can do all the same things I can with Intune. I can run, Defender security updates. I can restart the machine. I can tell the machine to resync from within the machine. It's my standard Windows machine. I'm using, enterprise state roaming and OneDrive redirection and all of that. So when I provision my machine, all of my files and everything just sort of appear. My desktop background follows me wherever I'm going. My color scheme, all of my applications installed. So Windows Terminal automatically installed on my machine, Teams, Office, everything that I'm doing through Intune, all of the investments that I've made in Microsoft Endpoint Manager have just followed me into my Cloud PC. And so even if I wanted to, I could click this reprovision button and it would completely wipe the machine and create a whole new one for me. But because I've already invested in the automation of Endpoint Manager, I don't have to actually do anything. Everything just comes back magically. And so that's part of that cloud provisioning. But that's something that extends into your on-premise as well. So if you have regular machines, they will carry over all of those Intune policies as well. And so this is just really creating sort of a central unified experience where you are experiencing Windows in the same way, no matter if you're on your Cloud PC, a physical machine, Azure Virtual Desktop, all of the above.
The Endpoint Protection Manager, is it another separate investment on its own, or is it something that comes out of the box when you use Windows 365?
That's a good question. So you get Microsoft Defender as part of Windows. If you want the special Defender Security Center extra, capabilities, that is a Microsoft 365 E5 feature right now. But you still can do Windows Defender and manage Windows Defender to an extent with just having Microsoft 365 E3, for instance.
Okay. And you mentioned that the Windows 365 is what everybody would have access to. Anyone with a valid subscription of Microsoft 365, Office 365 would have access to this. Is that correct?
So they'll have access to Endpoint Manager, but if they want a Cloud PC, they need to buy a Windows 365 license.
Okay. So now let's talk about pricing for a little bit. What does it cost to own a Cloud PC? And how do we pay or subscribe for one?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you can purchase it in the Microsoft Admin Center portal. And so if I go to my billing section and go to purchase services, it should be in here under the product categories. You can also search for Windows 365 in your favorite browser and purchase it through there. I think the very initial enterprise price is $20 per month in the United States. I don't know what pricing might be internationally. I would imagine it's close to that though. So this basic license is $31. I think this one includes the Windows license on its own. There is what they call hybrid. So if you already have Microsoft 365 with your Windows license, it does lower the price, I think, a little bit. And so there are some requirements to the pricing, that they'll list down here in the fine print. But under the basic, it starts at $31 a month and it goes up to $66. There are more SKUs and plans that you can go through. So I'll go ahead and pull that up. So here's the very bottom of the barrel pricing. So if you already have Microsoft 365, you can get a 1 CPU, 2 gig of RAM, 64 gig storage machine for about $20 US a month. But it goes all the way up to 32 gigs of RAM with 512 gigs of storage at 158 US a month. Right now, we don't have GPU-based licenses available, but that is something that's coming.
And just like we can try out Office 365, Microsoft 365 for free for a period of time, right? So is there a trial version of Windows 365 as well? Something to try out before people perhaps might want to commit to paying for it?
So when it first came out in early September, there was a trial window, but it was so popular that we had to stop everyone because it was using up a lot of Azure. And so now they've introduced some gates. So they're letting some of the larger organizations get through and do trials, but right now trials are not open to the public, but they should be opening to the public again. So there will be a point where we should be seeing the ability to open up new trials.
Your final thoughts on this now, do you think it's something that people should own, a cloud PC? Or do you think this is made for just some set of people who need to do that requires a PC with very powerful spec, or people into gaming? What's your take on this?
So if you're into gaming, I recommend the cheapest option is to buy Xbox Live, the new Xbox Live feature that's I think $15 a month, where they give you xCloud, where you can stream games to your PC or to your Xbox or to even your mobile device. This is probably a little expensive for a dedicated gaming machine. Although, if you think about GPU prices, this might actually become very competitive with that. So I don't know if Cloud PC is making sense for regular consumer consumption yet. Just yet. I have a feeling eventually there will be some version for the consumer. But I think most people are looking at this and they're probably thinking, I still want my PC, especially a lot of that depends on your internet connectivity too. If you're in an area where it's a little more remote, Netflix or something like that is a little more challenging, then you're going to have a bad experience with Cloud PC. And so in that scenario, I don't recommend it because I don't want anyone to have a bad experience.
This is all we've got for today's Tech Talk with me, Kazeem. Thank you so much, Azim, for spending time with us on the show today. So I don't know if you have any last words before we say bye-bye now.
I just wanted to thank you for having me, and it was very much a pleasure, and it was really great meeting you and everyone else on the call. So thank you for having me. I'll put my email address in the chat in case people have other questions. I'm happy to answer questions, as well as my LinkedIn. Just because I love connecting with people. People are the reason why I do this job. I didn't join Microsoft to get close to computers, so.
So if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so. It's the Tech Talk Wednesday on YouTube and across the others. This is where we're going to be wrapping up today. So let's continue to keep safe and let's do this again another time. So from myself now and Azim, it's a bye-bye. Thank you.